The fight against insurgency in Nigeria's northeast has just witnessed a fascinating and highly strategic breakthrough, as military forces operating in the volatile Borno State have successfully dismantled a covert espionage ring, apprehending two prime suspects who are operating right under the radar in the community of Damboa. This development, which unfolded recently in 2026, sheds an incredible amount of light on the changing dynamics of asymmetrical warfare and the desperate yet cunning tactics currently being employed by extremist factions as they continue to lose their strongholds. The suspects were not caught with heavy artillery, armored vehicles, or sophisticated communication gadgets. Instead, they were intercepted with simple bicycles and an array of traditional charms, revealing a deliberate shift towards stealth, psychological fortification, and low-profile operations. To truly grasp the magnitude of this arrest, one must understand the strategic importance of Damboa. Located on the fringes of the infamous Sambisa forest, Damboa has historically been a critical flashpoint, serving as both a buffer zone and a gateway for armed groups attempting to infiltrate major towns or retreat into the dense wilderness. Over the years, the Nigerian military has fortified this town, making it incredibly difficult for these groups to launch the massive, coordinated vehicular attacks that characterized the earlier years of the conflict. Consequently, the enemy has been forced to adapt, pivoting from sheer brute force to the dark arts of espionage, intelligence gathering, and silent infiltration. The apprehension of these two spies is not just a routine arrest, it is the severing of a vital neurological pathway that the insurgents rely on to plan their ambushes, monitor troop movements, and identify soft targets within the civilian population. The details surrounding their capture paint a vivid picture of the reality on the ground. Military intelligence, working in close synergy with the Civilian Joint Task Force and local informants, had been monitoring suspicious movements along the Damboa axis. The suspects were masquerading as ordinary locals, blending into the agrarian backdrop of the recovering community. Their choice of transportation, the bicycle, is a masterclass in guerrilla evasion. In a region where the military possesses advanced thermal imaging, drone surveillance, and radar systems designed to detect the heat signatures and metallic mass of motorized convoys, a bicycle is virtually invisible. It emits no heat, requires no fuel, and makes absolutely no noise, allowing these spies to navigate the treacherous, sandy terrains of the Lake Chad Basin undetected under the cover of darkness. Furthermore, the economic reality of 2026, with fluctuating fuel prices and tightened military blockades on supply routes, has made it incredibly difficult for insurgent groups to maintain their fleets of motorcycles and gun trucks. The bicycle has therefore become the ultimate tool for their covert operatives, enabling them to map out military checkpoints, gauge the morale of the troops, and relay this critical information back to their commanders hidden deep within the forest enclaves. Alongside their silent modes of transport, the suspects were found heavily laden with an assortment of traditional amulets and charms. This specific detail opens up a profound discussion about the psychological and cultural dimensions of this protracted conflict. Despite their ideological claims, many operatives within these extremist factions still lean heavily on local mysticism for protection and courage. The recovered charms, often referred to as juju, were allegedly meant to render the spies invisible to the eyes of the Nigerian soldiers, protect them from bullets, and ensure their safe passage through heavily monitored territories. The fact that they were caught red-handed despite their supposed spiritual armor has struck a massive blow to the psychological morale of the insurgent ranks. It demystifies the aura of invincibility that these groups often try to project to terrify the local populace. When the local community sees that the military can easily apprehend operatives who claim to possess supernatural protection, it emboldens the civilians, reinforcing their trust in the conventional security forces and encouraging more people to step forward with actionable intelligence. This level of civilian-military cooperation is exactly what has been turning the tide of the war in 2026. As we dive deeper into the incredible bravery of our troops and the shifting strategies in this ongoing battle for peace, I want to take a quick moment to say that if you are enjoying this detailed breakdown and want to keep getting the most accurate, streamlined, and engaging news stories without the fluff, please make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button right now, as it helps us continue to bring these vital updates straight to your screen. The synergy between the armed forces and the people of Damboa is a related conversation that we must expand upon because it is the true unsung hero of this entire narrative. For over a decade, the residents of Borno State have borne the brunt of a conflict that has displaced millions, disrupted agriculture, and stunted economic growth. However, the narrative in 2026 is one of aggressive resilience and recovery. The locals are tired of the bloodshed and the constant shadow of fear. They have realized that the armed groups can only thrive in an environment of silence and intimidation. By actively participating in their own security, providing the military with tips about strange faces and unusual activities, the residents of Damboa are reclaiming their homeland block by block. The spies caught with their bicycles thought they could blend in, but they underestimated the vigilance of a community that has learned to identify the subtle signs of danger. They noticed the irregular patterns of their movement, the strange hours they chose to travel, and the subtle cues that distinguish them from genuine farmers or traders. This arrest proves that the days of extremists operating with impunity, relying on the fear of the locals to mask their presence, are rapidly coming to an end. The military's approach has also evolved significantly. The successful busting of this spy network highlights a sophisticated understanding of counter-insurgency warfare, where intelligence gathering is prioritized just as highly as kinetic military action. The information extracted from these two suspects will undoubtedly be a goldmine for the Nigerian intelligence community. Spies are the eyes and ears of the insurgency. They know the safe routes, the locations of weapon caches, the identities of collaborators within the towns, and the immediate operational plans of their commanders. By interrogating these individuals, the military can preempt future attacks, dismantle hidden logistics chains, and launch targeted surgical strikes against hideouts. It's a domino effect. One busted spy network can prevent multiple ambushes, saving the lives of countless soldiers and innocent civilians. Furthermore, this incident forces the extremist factions into a state of paranoia. When a spy network is compromised, the commanders in the bush can no longer trust their sources of information. They begin to suspect internal betrayals, which leads to infighting, fractured command structures, and a general breakdown of their operational cohesion. This internal friction is exactly what the Nigerian military aims to exploit in their ongoing 2026 offensives. The broader picture here is the relentless push towards absolute normalization in the Northeast. The government has been heavily focused on returning displaced persons to their ancestral homes, reopening major commercial routes, and revitalizing the agricultural sector, which is the bloodline of the Borno economy. For this to happen, the roads must be safe, the farms must be secure, and the towns must be purged of covert informants. The apprehension in Damboa is a massive step in that direction. It sends a clear and uncompromising message to the remnants of the insurgent groups that there is no hiding place left, whether they choose to travel in convoys of stolen military vehicles or attempt to sneak through the brush on silent bicycles draped in protective charms. The eyes of the Nigerian state are wide open and watching. The landscape of the war has changed, and the hunters have truly become the hunted. As the military continues its aggressive clearance operations across the Lake Chad region, neutralizing threats before they can even materialize, the story of the bicycle-riding spies of Damboa will be remembered as a testament to the fact that conflicts are not only won with firepower, but with superior intelligence, community solidarity, and an unbreakable will to restore peace. It is a powerful reminder of the sacrifices being made daily by our men and women in uniform who endure the harshest conditions to ensure that the rest of the nation can sleep with both eyes closed. The vigilance must continue, the community partnerships must be strengthened, and the nation must remain united in its support for the armed forces as they write the final chapters of this long and arduous campaign to secure the region.